This is the Josh Moxey Show. Alright, so this is episode 1. My name is Josh Moxey, and I am of course going to be your quote-unquote host for the Josh Moxey Show. I'm excited to be doing this. So let me just quickly highlight a little brief background of who I am. So obviously my name is Josh. I am 21 years old. I currently live in KW, which is Kitchener-Waterloo, and this is in Ontario, Canada. So up in the cold-ass Canadian weather, which we are close to experiencing, as it's the end of October right now, as I'm recording this. So the reason for the podcast, and actually let me just go into quickly like a little bit more about me, because all you know is my fucking date of birth and that jazz. So let me get a little bit more detail here. I'm a web developer. I'm a web developer / programmer. I'm a designer, and I'm also an entrepreneur. And basically, I'm just like a natural creative. I get such a hard on mentally for all things creation, whether that's writing, producing content is very enjoyable to me. Designing, making things pretty, it's very fun for me. The whole like taking something from nothing, and also taking something in my head and like realizing that in the physical world. That's fucking sick to me. So, and also like things like video editing, photography is interesting to me. Basically, all things creation is very, very much a passion of mine. So that's a little bit about me. I am taking a very weird life approach where I'm not going to school for the things I want to do in life. I'm trying to do them a different way. And that's a massive part of my life, I think. And a lot of people don't understand that, and that's okay. They'll understand eventually when it works out. So, why the podcast? First off, authenticity / documenting my reality. So, there's just so much bullshit out there right now with the whole everyone trying to be perfect on Instagram and show like these amazing lives when in reality it's nothing like Instagram whatsoever. And it just drives me insane because people are just so fucking insecure and not self-accepting and not self-validating enough that they just try to create this image on social media, and it's fucking absolutely ridiculous. So what I want to do with this podcast is document everything as real as possible. Actually, this ties into the second point too. So like the whole, first of all, I'm not interested in being this authority figure at 21 years old. Like, I mean, yes, of course, I do want to be that, but I'm not ready to be that right now because I'm fucking 21 years old. Like, yes, there are things that I am an authority on, but they're minimal and the reality is I don't have the results to back up my wanting to be authority or wanting to be an authority. So for the time being, this is going to manifest in a way where I'm not going to fucking sit here and try to be the 21-year-old life coach. I'm instead going to just be me and share my journey, because I literally think I'm going to be all-time great in this world. And with that, I want to be able to document my rise to the top. Like, I think that's very fascinating to think about. I like this example of like what, or even just Mark Zuckerberg and Kevin Systrom. I respect them massively, and being able to listen to their old interviews is just so fascinating to me. So I think that it can be very valuable in the 10, 20, 50, 100-year window to be able to look back on something like this podcast and be like, oh, that's where he came from, type of thing. Whether or not I achieve anywhere close to where I want to be, I just think it will be fascinating nonetheless to watch my development in real time, my growth, my evolution. It's interesting. I have 3 points written out here so I don't forget them. But it's just kind of how I end up living my life. So it's not like some fucking, like it's all, these are core values of the podcast, but it's because they're core values of me. So I think that's just interesting of note. So anyways, I am not interested in being some bullshit fucking character. I just want to be as real as possible, as raw as possible, and vulnerable in many times, because I think that can be valuable to people. So, next point, documenting. So I've covered this a little bit, but I wanted to be able to document my journey to the top. I think that's so fascinating. Like I was saying about looking back and seeing the old interviews, I think it's just so interesting to see what they were thinking about on the rise. And I'm not here to like create content for the most part, though that could change. But I'm here to do a lot of documenting of my thoughts. I think I have very interesting thoughts, and those thoughts are majority of the time worth recording. It's why I do a lot of journaling, and I like journaling a lot, but a lot of that is going to just sit in my journal. And though in my journal, even I built the journal because and it's called Thoughts, in a way where some of it's public, some of it's private, and I get to choose. But I'm building, or this podcast will obviously all be public, and I think it's a lot faster to record voice. So I'm fascinated with how this can go. And a lot of this is going to be an experiment for me. And actually this leads into the third point, which is growth. I'm not interested in stagnancy. It drives me fucking crazy, stagnancy. Staying the same. So basically for this podcast and for me, you're just going to see a ton of growth, a ton of evolving. There's just going to be so much learning involved, so much, like I'm absolutely obsessed with learning, testing, creating, growing, getting better, getting stronger, adapting, evolving, like I was saying, pushing myself farther, expanding my comfort zone, etc. Because of those things, the only constant is change. That's just the reality of who I am. I'm constantly changing, I'm constantly growing, constantly updating. So this will be interesting to watch as I document this all in audio form. And this is it's just a little bit strange talking into a voice recorder app on my iPhone and knowing that this will be public to the world soon. So anyways, I hope this provides a little bit of context for what exactly is going to go on in this podcast. But to sum it up, it's basically going to be documenting my journey in a real and authentic way. And I'm excited for this. This is going to be very, very, what's the word? Very helpful, very educational, very intriguing overall. I'm fascinated to see how this goes. So anyways, I appreciate you listening this far, and I am excited for this podcast. I'll catch you on the next one.